Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So before we go back into the variant dropdown, just quickly want to show you a neat functionality. So if you remember the functionality of Laravel Navigate, you can make links feel like a spa-like application like Vue.js or React. So if I head back in here, click refresh, and then I click on orders, posts, so on, it has appended live wires and wire navigate functionality to all of these links now. So it just feels a lot more smoother. Now with that said, let's get back into the variant dropdown. So in here, we want to have a wire model, and let's just call this selected variant. Let's call this variations and variations. Alright, so with that done, let's go back into our dropdown here. And let's create the property here. So to do that, let's create something called selected variant. So if we head back in now, you can see we have the selected variant just here. Perfect. Then we want to have public function updated. And we just want to die dump on this selected variant. So with Laravel 3, you automatically append the defer function instead, so you don't have to use the defer, but in this case you actually want to make it live. So I'm going to close this down, we don't need that anymore. And if you type it in like this, we will get this actual value. So if I go ahead and refresh and I select blue, it's empty at the moment, and that's because we haven't actually passed through the ID here, which is what we need. So if I go back now, you can see we got ID 6. If I select the green one, we got ID 5. Perfect. So now that we have that done, let's go ahead and essentially create the product variation and say the selected the variant model. So let's go in now and basically say this variant model equals product variation find value, and then let's die dump on this variation model. And there we go, now we have the model here. And what we actually want to do is we want to say ancestors and self, because now if you go ahead here, you can see inside here that we have some relationship. So in this case I can actually go in, and as you can see we have this relationship here with the attributes, we have the color here. So I think we don't even need this here, we just want to access it this way. Alright, so let's see what we got in here. And let's just go back in here, just making sure we have the relationship properly set up. So that's sorted now. And of course, we don't want to use ancestors itself. That's the one when we want to use children. So now with that sorted, let's go back in the variant dropdown. And let's say if the variation model is set, we just want to print out variation model, children, probably give an error. Oh yeah, we're still die dumping, so let's stop doing that. There we go. Now we got the children here. So what we can do now is we can go back in here and essentially with this enable now, we can load a self in again, saying livewire variant dropdown, then say variations is, and we don't want to necessarily call this, let's call this child variations instead. Just that makes more sense in my opinion. So if we head back in here, all right, let's see what we have. We don't want that relationship to be added because we're getting the children. And I don't think we can specify this as, because this could be collection or array. Or maybe we should just try to do it without any of those at first. Or we can collect them. Yeah, maybe we should do that. So if we go back in, if first and foremost want to make sure we still access the children property because we're not passing that through. There we go. And there we go. Now, we want to make sure that we don't have duplicates coming down. So in here, we want to... Alright, so what we also need to do is we need to check if child variations is not empty. If we then head back in here, you can see we can now select the variant here and it won't come up with an empty dropdown. Furthermore, I also want to ensure that we have a disabled option. And let's just say select variant and please select. Just say please select for now. We will make sure this is disabled. But also I like having this as selected. So if we make sure that values is select, We can just leave it like this actually, and let's create a label for this as well while we're at it. So for the ID of variations, and let's add in, please select your variations. You may want to come up with a better wording for this. This is not necessarily the best one in the whole world. And we probably don't need this one. That's fine. Outside of that, we also, so the last thing that we will do before we add it to the card is essentially using the event system in Livewire, and we're not going to be working with that in this video. Instead, in the next video, we're going to be adding this to the card. We are going to be hiding, or more accurately disabling, this button, so it will look more along the lines of this in the products page where we have the product component here. We will just say disabled, and we will just set that as disabled for now, and maybe add some styling to that as well later on. But you could also, before that, get selected visible height to price and so on, but we will work on that later. For now, the key thing is really just making sure that we can select the variants. We may want to change some of the text around. I'll also work on that later, but it's not the most important thing at the moment. The most important thing is to be able to add things to your basket, whether there's variations or not. And if there's no variations, then obviously we shouldn't show the drop down as well. So that's not a thing we're going to be working on in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Please hit the like and the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video.